Hi, Arvison here. Sorry I'm missing you all today. Just can't seem to kick this cold. So, thought we'd take a little break from doing waves and have you do a little history of science project. So, something I always found interesting was this idea of the paradigm shift. And paradigm shifts kind of describes how scientists have changed their ideas over time. And this has happened many, many times. A classic example is how at one point humans thought Earth was the center of the universe. They thought all the planets orbited the Earth, they thought the sun orbited the Earth, and then Copernicus came along and he did some amazing work with telescopes. He made it his home and discovered that it made more sense that the sun was the center of the Earth. So, there's lots of details there, and I want you all to each pick an example of a time in history that we have had a paradigm shift in science. So I have a bunch of examples here. Let's see if I can find them. So here we go. We've got some astronomical paradigm shifts. So what I just described, Ptolemy's geocentric astronomy to Copernicus's heliocentric model. We've also got Einstein, came up with relativity, kind of blew up the Newtonian world. In human biology, this dude named Haeckel used to think that in the embryo that we would kind of go through the evolutionary tract that we went through as humans. So like in the embryo, it's hilarious. You should look at his pictures. He thought we started out looking like little birds and then little dinosaurs, and yeah, we don't believe that anymore. But it was taught as recently as 1980. In geology, we didn't know why there were mountains and things for a long time until in 1964. Um, this fella developed the plate tectonic theory. In biology, there was this old idea about blood made up by this dude Galen, and then William Harvey came along and kind of redesigned how we understand it. Microbiology, there used to be this idea that life was spontaneously generated, and that given the right conditions, life would just appear into existence. But then Louis Pasteur showed that life can only come from other life. In chemistry, we used to think that the way things started on fire was this thing called phlogiston, and that objects had a certain amount of phlogiston in them, and that determined how well they would burn. Now we know it's oxygen. There's also been a ton of revisions to the atomic model, so us figuring out that there's a nucleus, electrons, and now understanding the more quantum mechanical model. So you could pick any one instance of a chemist who contributed to that kind of timeline. And then in physics, one of my favorites obviously is we used to think that light traveled through this thing called the ether, and sometimes they used to spell it like AETHER because it was, you know, uh, ancient Europe. So, but then Michelson and Morley and Einstein came along, and they did some experiments that showed that, well, actually, electromagnetic waves, light, doesn't require medium. So you could pick one of these topics. That's the goal, and we want to do a few things with it. So first off, you want to decide on a topic and define the term paradigm shift, and you can just look that up and include that in your documentation. So I want you to find some relevant resources. So Wikipedia is always a great place to start, but it shouldn't be the thing you're getting all of your information from. There's always good resources at the bottom in terms of links and things like that on Wikipedia pages that you can go from there. But really the big products I'm looking for is for you to create a timeline, like on a large piece of paper, that kind of lays out what the history of this paradigm shift was like, and then write a 3-paragraph response on basically what happened. So just a summary of pardon me, a summary of what you learned. And here's a little structure here for you. So describing the old paradigm, what led folks to change their mind, how did others react, and how does this new paradigm better describe the universe? I also just wanted to, reward the folks who did well and took this seriously. So I tried to put together a little rubric for you of how I wanted to grade this. Basically, have you included these things? Did you do a timeline? Did you do a summary? Did you list some resources? And finally, at the end of today, before you leave class, I'm asking that you just do this little progress check Google form. And that's right here. So just want to know what paradigm shift you decided to study, how much progress you've made, and if you had any questions for me, I can try to answer them via email for you, or hopefully I'll be back in class on Thursday and then I can answer them in person. Also, let's see what else. Just wanted to show you an example of a timeline here. So this is a nice timeline, includes some images, includes some important dates. It's easy to read and understand. And obviously yours could be made either on paper or digital equivalent. I know that there's lots of softwares and online things that can help you make nice timelines.